Hey, if you're seeing this message, then you've been chosen as one of the few people to gain access to this secret page. You'll understand why this is important in a few minutes. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Ashley Kay. Yeah, that is me. And if you've been wallowing in misery lately over a guy you can't stop thinking about, then you've come to the right place. I'm about to reveal some dirty little tricks that will get your ex-boyfriend to beg and plead for you back again, as if you have magically tampered with his thinking and influenced him to fall back in love with you without any resistance on his part. If your guy is telling you, this isn't going to work, I just want to be left alone, and I don't love you anymore, then you'll want to pay attention to this next part. The number one thing that determines whether you attract your man back or you stay apart forever largely comes down to whether you know to push his emotional hot buttons after a breakup. A man has various triggers that will make him 1. Be pulled emotionally towards you, remove his current resistance he has for you, and 3. Make him fear the prospect of losing you for good, therefore enticing him to chase you as hard, if not harder, than ever before. Now, if you're anything like me during my breakup, then you probably didn't even want to get out of bed on most days, let alone be able to influence him to do anything you wanted. But here's the thing. Guys are easily influenced once you understand male psychology and what makes them tick. There's a reason why some women seem to attract and keep men easily, even when they don't treat their men well, while others seem to repel men away no matter what they do. But this does not have to be you. To see what I mean, I want you to do something for me. Imagine for a moment that you suddenly get a knock on the door, and much to your surprise, it's your ex. You look at him and you can see tears in his eyes. He is so emotional he can barely speak. Somehow he manages to say, with his voice breaking, "I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, I made a mistake, and I still love you and want you back." Now, hold that thought for a minute. How do you think you would feel at this moment? Relieved, like a huge weight has been lifted? Extremely happy, like your life can go back to normal again? I'm about to show you how you can make this come true by simply shifting your focus from desperately trying to make him come back to reversing the situation so he is the one chasing after you. And I'll show you how to keep him in love with you and only you so he will never leave you again. The first dirty little trick to store away in your secret vault is this, so pay attention. Men fall in love much more quickly and stay in love much longer with a woman who demonstrates supreme control over her emotions. The more control you have over your emotions, the quicker your man will fall for you. Now, what do I mean by this? Women generally have much more emotional intelligence than men do. We grew up talking about emotions, expressing our emotions, sharing it with friends and family, and we're able to read someone's emotional signals much more accurately than men can. But the problem with being so in touch with our emotions is that we often act on our emotions too. This is when men will joke about us having mood swings or being that time of the month again. Now, it's our emotions coming out to play and dominating our behaviors. I mean, sure, not all women do this, but more often than not, as women, we express our feelings more often than men do. And you know what? In a breakup situation, our emotions are full throttle out of whack. If you ever acted desperate, needy, controlling, or was an emotional wreck around your ex-boyfriend and hoped it was enough to get him back, then you know that it probably wasn't the best thing you could have done. So note to self, a man is not attracted by desperate or needy behavior. And you sure don't want him to come back out of pity now, do you? Look, I admit, I almost totally screwed up too. I allowed my pain and fear to overwhelm me. I somehow always found the phone in my hand and I would call him over and over hoping to just talk it out. But take it from me, it doesn't work. The good news is you can turn your situation around and alter his feelings about you, even if you have made emotional mistakes and you feel your situation is now hopeless. This is because, and here comes the second dirty little trick for you to keep forever in your arsenal. It is 5 times harder for a man to cut off emotional ties with a woman he once loved than someone he just started dating. That means as long as you know the right emotional buttons to push, you'll get results 10 times faster than if he has never dated you before. See, you've already done the bulk of the work by making your guy fall for you in the first place. Now, unless your ex-boyfriend was extremely good at pretending to like you from the start, he will always have feelings left over for you after a breakup. Now, there is just one thing I need to warn you about before I continue. Reattracting a guy who knows you and used to love you is actually a lot different to attracting someone new. Although easier, the techniques are distinctively different. So here's what you need to know. Step 1, you need to understand why. You need to get inside his male mind and understand why he wanted to leave in the first place in order to reattract him back. Step 2, you need to remove his resistance. Remove any resistance he may have against you. And step 3 is reattraction. You need to then use reattraction methods which pushes his emotional buttons to lure him back. Now, in many cases, you will only need to go as far as step 2 because if your guy still loves you, simply removing his resistance is enough to want you back. Now, this is fairly easy once you understand the right thing to do. However, it can be painfully counterproductive if you do the wrong things or at the wrong time. Look, I know exactly how you feel, so I want to tell you what happened to me. I was a complete emotional wreck when I became suddenly single after 6 years in a relationship. That's a long time. I remember I spent the first few weeks crying, feeling angry and hurt, going crazy thinking about the breakup over and over, trying to construct ways I could get the relationship back, and constantly questioning why and how this could have happened. And this was also during my last year at university, so as you could imagine, I was a complete mess, and my studies really suffered because of it. That's when I knew I had to do something about it. I started to read and study relationship dynamics and male psychology like a maniac. I read every book I could find in this area. These were books on relationships, getting an ex back, male psychology, and dating and seduction books that worked for women. After a while, the pieces finally started to come together and a set of patterns was revealed to me. It was an aha moment. And then something interesting started to happen. It wasn't long until my ex was the one calling me, crying to me on the phone, and telling me how much he missed me. He started sending love letters and wanting to talk to me all the time. He couldn't understand what was going on, and frankly, I didn't understand either. Now, you may think that I took him back and everything was great and wonderful again, but what happened next took me by complete surprise. I realized after all this that our relationship was majorly flawed, and I wouldn't really be happy by getting back together with him. In fact, the more he begged, pleaded, and wanted me back, the more I realized he wasn't the right one for me. And the real twist to the story was, although I didn't realize it, I actually wanted him to feel just as terrible as I did during my breakup. And even a few years after this, he still wanted me back. So I guess I definitely left an impression on him. Now, I could have put that part of my life behind me, but I quickly realized how many others were suffering the same breakup pains that I suffered. Naturally, I wanted to help, so I started to help others through email and on my website, and quickly realized how common a lot of breakup situations were. I spent the next year putting everything I knew in a book, cutting stuff out that weren't relevant, and only leaving the best information that yielded the fastest results. I also altered and improved many things that I discovered to create the most effective system to help other women like me. Now, for the first time, you'll be able to attract him back with tactics that will get him to do most of the work to woo you back and obtain the secret to keep him hooked and addicted to you forever. The X Recovery System Get Him Back Edition is a program I've developed through years of research, trial and error, and working closely with real women. This is the result of handpicking the best strategies, tactics, and male psychological triggers and combining them into one solid program. We go far and beyond what other competing programs are willing to do by providing personalized one-on-one help no matter what problem you have. We won't ever leave you in the dark to figure things out on your own. Now, did you know that 80% of couples who reunite after a breakup break up again within the first 1 to 3 months? Now, here's what ends up happening. Couples rush back into a relationship only to find all the old problems still there. A terrifying amount of Get Your Ex Back products deal with quick fix solutions that don't last. And not only that, but these so-called quick fixes can end up doing more damage to your relationship than good in the long term. This is where the Get Him Back edition is different. We're not just another band-aid solution. The program helps to rebuild your relationship with a concrete foundation and guides you to maintaining a successful relationship long after the program is over. Now, don't worry, you won't need to shift through pages and pages of text, as this program is much more than just a guide. Get Him Back is an interactive course that consists of videos, interactive quizzes, workbooks, visual maps, and the core manual. This program is a much improved and much more specific addition to the original popular course, the X Recovery System. The core system has gone through a major intensive upgrade, making sure to leave all the most successful tactics intact and also adding in all new videos and methods dedicated especially for women looking to win their boyfriend back. A lot of my customers love all the different ways to consume my content, and the great part is I've included an exclusive members only section to help you with even more ongoing training for absolutely free. Your life after this program will never be the same again. Here's just a few things you'll be able to do. You will be calm and confident about your breakup situation. You will know what to do immediately to reattract and lure him back so he is the one working to be with you. You will feel empowered and invigorated about the days and weeks to come. You will be confident, emotionally strong, and irresistibly sexy, so your guy won't be able to stand being away from you, even if he has a new love interest. You will know exactly what to do to get your guy to call you on the phone and ask you out on a date. You will know exactly how to make him feel just as crazy about you as he did in the beginning of the relationship, and you will easily pass any test that he may throw your way. And that's only a few of the things that you'll discover within the Get Him Back edition. And what better time to get started than today? Sadly, every day that you go without proper guidance is another day he could be out forming emotional connections with other women and leaving all of your fond memories behind. The less you're on his mind, the more he'll forget about you, and eventually you won't matter to him at all. Don't let this happen to you, and trust me, I won't. I often get women tell me how invaluable my program is, as it has helped them know the right things to do and say no matter what situation they're in. It has helped many women from ending up alone, miserable, and forever wondering what if about their relationship. Now imagine if you didn't try all you could to save your relationship. Could you live with yourself not knowing what could have happened? Now give yourself this opportunity to get him back where he belongs, with his arms wrapped tightly around you, with his lips sweetly on yours, with him whispering sweet words in your ears, and with him confessing that he loves you and will never leave you again. Before you go anywhere, there is just one thing I need to warn you about. The Get Him Back edition contains unconventional methods that is not revealed anywhere in the world. In fact, after having read and purchased many Get Your Ex Back products online, I've found a lot of them have a habit of leaving out key ingredients that, at least for women, is a must to know. Frankly, the techniques in my system work so freakishly well that although it's intended to be used for good, there's always a chance it could fall in the wrong hands and be used for harm. This is where I have to admit this program isn't for